All right. Good morning to all reverends. Welcome to our synchronous class. So, may I see your smile today? Pagandahan ng smile tayo. Ayan. So, I'm glad and excited that you are here for today's session. Kaway-kaway. Okay. Sige. So, we would like to acknowledge the presence of our dear assistant principal, Ma'am Perez.
Good morning, everyone. Good
Morning,
morning.
ma'am. Our master teacher, Ma'am May Villanueva and Sir Jess Aguilar. Good morning po. So we are in UCSP, we are using avatar classrooms. The avatar classroom is a virtual classroom wherein students create avatar. So we use CLASSCRAFT, avatar classroom number 1 through CLASSCRAFT, every asynchronous classes or class. And avatar classroom number 2 through Google Slide. So ayan po sila. So let's start our day with a prayer to be led by Justine. Justine, rescue to the rescue.
Okay, let us put ourselves in the loving presence of the Lord, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Father, Lord God, come be with us today. Fill our hearts with joy. Fill our minds with learning. Fill our lessons with fun. Fill our friendships with kindness. Fill our school with love. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
And for attendance, Arthur, ilan tayo ngayon in our virtual session?
The attendance for today in our virtual session is 41, ma'am.
41. 46. So 3 teachers, so 43 students. Okay.
43.
Thank you. Sige. So every session needs to be, of course, organized and well prepared. So Attorney John Philip, kindly tell your classmates our rules and regulation.
Hello.
Yeah.
For the rules and regulation, you unmute your microphone if you're going to speak and mute it while listening. C. Communication with the teacher via text or call if you experience internet connection.
Okay, let me know if you experience internet connection problem.
S. It sit properly and listen attentively.
Okay. Kitang-kita naman na naka-open yung cam niya. Thank you. And
P. Prepare your laptop, computer, gadget, and module that we will be using in our online class.
yes, thank you, Attorney. So I know that you are excited for today's synchronous session. So let's have some flashback. Zai and Racy.
Hello, ma'am.
Yep.
For our recap, we used the Avatar Classroom ClassCraft to answer and finish Quest 2 with the title of Sociology and Political Science. It has 4 parts.
Next, for the introduction, we are introduced in sociology by Manuel Sepitola. According to him, sociology is the study of human social relationships and institutions.
For nature and goal of sociology, we watch a video about the founding fathers of sociology, namely Auguste Comte, Herbert Spencer, Karl Marx, Emil Durkheim, and Max Weber.
And we learned that sociological imagination is the ability to understand the relationship between individual experience and the broader patterns of society. According to Charles Wright Mills, we were also able to assess ourselves if we have social imagination through the given link.
Then, we were tasked to answer the following questions for the discussion. Number 1, describe your sociological imagination based on the result of the virtual simulation question. 2, share your personal problem that can be considered a social problem and one possible solution. And lastly, comment on at least one of your classmates' response.
Next is we learned from Professor Tamir Sokari that we should study political science because like all other sciences, it affects our daily lives. We were also able to play a game developed by iCivic called Branches of Power. I somehow enjoyed the game and I know everyone did. It made us realize that there are a lot of things to consider in making a bill or law.
After the game, we were asked to take a screenshot of the last part of the game and upload in the assignment part. We also answered the question regarding our experience in playing the game. Lastly, we took assessment number 2 comprising of 10 questions. That's the end of this week's ClassCraft. Thank you.
Yay! Thank you, Zion. Thank you, Tracy. And also, we'd like to commend the effort of our attorney. Nakalagay dito. Wait lang. Attorney Arthur. Oh. Thank you for your insights. And also, pupuntahan niyo yung political science. Thank you, Justice. Arthur Freol, di ba? So, he shared to us the experience of being in executive, legislative, and judicial branches. Thank you. So, also, for the quest, majority of you nakasagot for the assessment. I'm sure your advisor, Sir JP Arcilia, and your co-advisor, Ma'am May Villanueva, are so proud of you. To make them more proud, let us have some battle of mind. So, punta po tayo sa ating avatar classroom number 2, which is our Google slide. Okay? So, you need to line up with the options of your choice,
naka-on cam
and
ako,
you need to and you need to defend it. Okay? So, here's the premise. Sige, go to slide number 11 and 12. Yan, 11. So, here's the premise. So here's the premise. There's an ongoing debate about balancing the health and economy of the Philippines amidst this pandemic. So my question for group number 1, 2, and 3, after health workers, sorry, HEALTH, who should be the next priority in COVID-19 vaccine? Assume that these are the only options. So for those students who are in group number 4, 5, and 6, and the rest of the members, pwede kayong mag-agree and disagree. Kindly use our chat box. Okay? So options, senior citizen, students age 16 and above, or essential workers. So, sige po, you have your 30 seconds. Slide number 12. Slide number 12. Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Sige, Max. Why we should prioritize older people than students and essential workers? Kindly defend your answer.
Okay po. So, good morning, Ms. Josa and our dear observers and everyone here, my classmates. Before I proceed with my claim, I would like to define my terms and premises. So first, I would like to define what a senior citizen is. Based on the Expanded Senior Citizen Act of 2010, a senior citizen refers to any Filipino citizen who is a resident of the Philippines who is 60 years old or above. And I would also like to define what a severe illness means with respect to COVID-19. It requires hospitalization, intensive care, a ventilator to help them breathe, or the huge possibility of death. All four are senior citizens are prone to all these. So now that I've defined my terms, I would proceed to my main claim, which is I firmly believe that senior citizens should be the next in line after health workers for the COVID-19 vaccine, because the fact is age increases the risk of severe illness. For example, people in their 50s are at higher risk for severe illness compared to people in their 40s, similar to 60s or 70s. Are in general, they are at high risk. And the great risk for severe illness from COVID-19 are those who are 85 and older. And according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 8 out of 10 COVID-19 deaths reported in the US have been adults 65 and older. And that's like that's the real life statistics that's happening right now. People are dying. And I'm not saying that um, those who are younger don't get COVID-19. In fact, they do, but they get mild symptoms and they're less likely to be hospitalized and less likely to die in general. So with that, I stand by my statement that we should prioritize senior citizens next after our frontliners or health workers for the COVID-19 vaccine. Thank you.
All right. So for Max, senior citizens and the elderly have recorded higher fatality rates, no? So when infected in COVID-19. Attorney Reyes, why should we prioritize students age 16?
So, ang dahilan po namin kung bakit students yung ipra-prioritize. So, unlike the senior citizens and healthcare workers, our students will be the future foundation of our society. So, if we don't protect them and prevent them from experiencing these diseases, which COVID-19 is now with the new varieties affecting more and more younger ages with the hospital and more younger and more fatal cases have been recorded than previous varieties. We should help protect our students since the exposure from senior citizens are much more, since students are more likely to go out than senior citizens, and they are more likely to socialize with others than senior citizens who are staying at home.
All right. So also according to UNICEF, diba, Philippines is one of the 14 countries that fully closed education and since the pandemic and has not resumed yet since. Sige. Let us listen to Attorney Banaag. Sige. Why do we need to prioritize essential workers?
Hello po, ma'am.
Yep.
Rinig po ba?
Yes.
Siguro po for me po, I think kailangan po natin i-prioritize yung mga essential workers since we've already prioritized our health frontliners. Siguro it's time na bigyan din po natin ng pansin yung ating economy. And we all know that essential workers have been providing the goods and services our city needs through one of the most challenging times in our history. And during this pandemic, the Philippines pandemic lockdown described as one of the longest, where 75% of the economy was shut down. And base po sa mga na-gather kong information, around 33.8 million workers po yung meron dito sa Pilipinas.
Okay.
And around 32.5 po doon is yung nasa age ng 20 to 59. So parang ipinimprove lang dito po na marami po yung mga apektado, and we all know that yung mga essential workers, sila po yung malaking vital role in maintaining critical infrastructure operation. And ayaw po natin ma-increase yung risk ng getting COVID-19 and ma-spread pa po nila yon. So I think it's maganda pong step para po sa next step po para sa atin na i-prioritize po yung ating mga essential workers. Yun lang po. Thank you po.
Oh, so you agree with Indonesia's model na they prioritize essential workers because they consider them as mobile group, mas gumagalaw. All right, sige. Thank you. Next situation. Zens, kindly use our chat box na pwede kayo mag-agree and disagree. Sige. Situation number 2. For group number 5 and 4, 5, and 6, a lot of lawmakers lawmakers claim that the education crisis in the country is being aggravated by the pandemic, hence the proposal to reopen school. However, there is a threat of new COVID-19 variants. So given the urgency of the concern and limited budget, what should the DepEd choose among these three? First, launch face-to-face classes, but only in GIDAs or geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas, or speed up and prioritize training, speed up printing of modules, training of teachers to improve teaching, or prioritize vaccination of teacher and students. You have your 30 seconds, group number 4, 5, and 6. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Solid team 5 ah. Sige. Justice Arthur, defend your answer. Arthur?
Okay po, ma'am. Napili po namin yung lunch face-to-face classes but only in low-risk areas in geographically isolated and disadvantageous areas na may low number of COVID cases condition. Kasi po, ma'am, face-to-face classes provide real-world understanding as well as profound learnings than what online learning can provide, such as social interaction and communication and real-life applications. Isolated naman po yung mga areas na to and by low risk. Sabi nga po dito sa internal note na Senator Pia Cayetano showed in a Senate session that there are hundreds of schools in municipalities with 0 cases where schools are not operating despite low risk. And high security measures to prevent further dissemination of virus. Limited budget lang po yung for online learning and shortage of modules as basis. One module is enough for one class. How many students ang pwedeng makover? Dahil may magtuturo naman sa kanila and face-to-face, which is actually more beneficial than online class.
All right. So Arthur is for face-to-face class na, specifically for GIDAs or geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. Sige, Helene, you want to speed up printing of modules and training of teachers for the new normal. Why?
Yes, ma'am. Hello. So right now, as of April 7, 2021, there have been 812,760 reported cases of COVID-19 in the Philippines. So considering the current statistics, we believe that going out right now is not an option. So considering the current situation, we believe that speeding up the production of modules and the training of teachers to improve teaching in the new normal is the most ideal solution. This is because implementing the solution properly will both avoid the increase of cases and ensure the safety of our teachers and our students. So when we speed up the production of modules, our students will have the right equipment and the right resources in order to learn much easier. And giving teachers the right information and knowledge through training will help them provide a better quality of education than the current system that we are currently having. So yeah, we believe that that is the better solution that we must have considering that we are in a pandemic. Thank you.
All right. But for Sophia, for Ms. Exconde, vaccination. Sige, Sophia. Vaccination of teachers and students. Yes.
Dinig po ako, ma'am.
Yep.
Ayan. So, our group chose the vaccination plan instead because as based on our research, one of the objectives of the government in determining the priority eligible population groups in our country is to protect those in the health services and essential services. The decision matrix included teachers and students in these population groups that fit the said objective. Students are at the bottom of vaccine prioritization, but following such designation will only endanger the health and safety of students, since the Commission on Higher Education gave a go signal to allow limited face-to-face classes for health-allied and medicine programs without providing clear guidelines and protocol to ensure the safety of returning students. Kabataan Party List Representative Sara Elago, together with the Makabayan Bloc, already filed a resolution last February 11, 2021, expressing the sense of the House of Representatives to prioritize the COVID-19 vaccination of students and teachers and ensure prompt and safe resumption. So in line with this, ma'am, we believe that in regards to the vaccination, we would take a risk for a greater solution comparing to the first two choices that they will take a risk, but it's for a more short-term solution because the vaccination also um um the vaccination also is a solution to the first two problems given, and yes,
All
it's a
right.
more long-term solution.
So you want a long-term solution. All right.
Yes,
Sige, so dear
ma'am.
audience or 12 reverends, what did you observe in the Battle of the Mind? Do we have same opinion or beliefs? Kindly use our chat box. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, no. So people have different opinions, viewpoints, and make different judgments. We differ from each other in such variety of ways that it would be impossible to achieve 100% of agreement, right? As you can see sa Battle of the Mind natin. People disagree how the limited resources which are available to the society should be distributed. We also disagree about how should matters to be resolved and how should collective decisions be made. And more importantly, who should have a say? Sino ba dapat may magsabi? And how much influence should each person have to, of course, convince one another and so forth? So those questions are so to answered by political science. So for today's sessions, here our objective. Our most essential competency is to discuss the nature of political science. And we're going to discuss nature of policy through avatar classroom discussion and uh, demonstrate appreciation in policy through situation analysis. So we have GIDAS, chronic illness, displacement due to armed conflict, and child abuse. And we're going to go to our kudos shrine and write importance and relevance of political science. So let's start. Go to slide 21. What are the terms and concepts related to political science? Write your group number or your name. You have your 30 seconds. All right. So time's up. There are so many concepts, terms related to political science. That's why today we need to set the parameter. Ang topic lang natin is nature of political science. And to understand nature of political science, we're going to discuss sub-disciplines of political science. Pero also, we need to listen to Arthur and Shane discussion on political science. Share screen ba, Arthur?
Yes po, ma'am. Share screen.
Okay, thank you. Go. Go, Justice Arthur.
Okay, good morning, everyone. All right. Allow us to take 3 to 5 minutes of your time as we are about to discuss political science in a nutshell. This presentation is prepared by Group 4 and we are your lecturers. I am Arthur Ferriol and Shane Obando.
To start off with the etymology of the word political, it stems from the Greek word polis, which means city, and the Latin word cire, which translates to know. Put both of those together, we have to know the city. So if we say that something is political, then it is concerned about the affairs of the state. Moving on with the early definitions, or what we may call the traditional view of political science, it is an academic discipline or a branch of knowledge which involves the study of government, political processes, institutions, and behaviors. Basically, it deals with the systems of the government, how they operate, and the administration of public policy by political institutions such as parties and the head of the state. Lastly, it is a systematic study, meaning it draws conclusions from scientific evidence. political scientists approach the study in an objective, rational, and systematic manner. Some key people whose statements support the traditional view include Raymond Gettel, a political science professor who states that political science deals with humans associating with one another, which then leads to the formation of a political unit, and Sir John Seeley, an English liberal historian who states that political science investigates the phenomena of the government.
Politics usually describes the process by which people and institutions exercise and resist power. This power can be as modest as a city council making budgetary choices over municipal services and personnel, or it can be all-out nuclear war. So it can be seen as, guys, the difference between power and authority. Power is defined as the ability or potential of an individual to influence others and control their actions. Authority and formal is the legal and formal right to give orders and commands and take decisions. Always remember that lahat ng authority may power, pero hindi lahat ng power may authority. And according to Max Weber, politics is the struggle for power on the influence of those in power. And according to Robson, political science centers on the struggle to gain and retain power, to exercise power or influence over other. So before we end this discussion, guys, let's have a short quiz for everyone. The first person to chat in the chat box, the correct answer will get 50 XP. Question number 1. Political comes from the word blank which means city. Ayun ang pinakauna ay si Lance Astillero. Next question. It is the study of government, political processes, institutions, and behaviors. Okay, political science, ang unang sumagot ay si Matthew Riantillo. Next question. The modern view of political science emphasizes the process by which people in these institutions exercise and resist blank. So, ang pinakaunang sumagot ay si Dali Monsalud. So, that's all for today, and that's the end of our discussion. Once again, I'm Arthur James Frayol, and
I'm Shane Alison Obando. Thank you for listening.
see you next week in Political Science in a Nutshell.
Wow. Thank you, Justice Shane and Justice Arthur. Nakakatawa, pag-game pa kayo Okay, sige. So, slide number 28. Sige, as a body of knowledge, political science is vast. It's therefore divided into the sub-disciplines. So, what are those? Can you give me one? Sige. Kindly write your name and group siguro. Or group number na lang. Wow, thank you sa mga nag-advance reading. All right, so time's up. We do have comparative politics, political theory, international politics, public law, international relations, and so on and so forth. Okay? Slide 29. Slide 29. So how are we going to understand its nature? Keywords? Okay lang kahit keywords. By observing. All right, so time's up for by observation, reading, implication, understanding facts, experience, interpretation, critical skills, observing. Aha. So, to be able to understand its nature, we're going to, of course, analyze different situations. Okay, so our sample situations are impacts, some are impacts of COVID-19 in the Philippines. So, to demonstrate appreciation in political science and subdisciplines, we will do this simple situation analysis. So last Tuesday during our asynchronous class, I gave you a copy of activity sheet in UCSP to read the situation and do the task per group. Okay, so here's our rubric for your presentation. Explanation, 5. Clarity, 3. Timeliness, 2. 10 points. And our CLASSCRAFT, it will be 1,000 XP. So let's start with group number 1. Go group 1.
Wait lang po, ma'am. I-present lang yung slides.
Sure. Thank you, Justin, for your support. Yan. While waiting for group 1, the nature of political science or the subdiscipline is political theory. Sample issue is lasting peace in Mindanao, addressing displacement due to armed conflict. And then here's a situation in January 2021, a total number of 1,700 families were displaced in Mindanao due to armed conflict. So the questions that we're going to answer is what are the factors causing the aggravating conflict, and why do we need to understand political theory?
And let's proceed to our presentation.
Kita pa rin po.
Yep.
Okay, let's go.
Next slide, please. And we're going to answer what are the factors aggravating armed conflict. So, next slide. According to our research, more than 3 years after the decimation of Marawi, around 76,125 families, that's 356,220 individuals, they remain displaced in Mindanao. And even amid the pandemic in current year 2020, there's still no visible progress in the rehabilitation of Marawi. Previous slide, please. There's an important quote here. Recruitment of terrorist groups are moving twice as fast as rehabilitation. The more you delay rehabilitation, the more you give them ground for recruitment. This is said by Romel Banlaoy, chairman of the Philippine Institute for Peace, Violence, and Terrorism Research, in his interview with Washington Post. Next. Right. Amid the pandemic, there's still displacement ongoing. 8,518 people in January lost their homes. And even during quarantine, people are losing their safety due to the peace program that was cut off, the lands that are being claimed, and many other socio-cultural differences. Next slide. Decades into the protracted armed revolution, the state cuts off channels for peace talks with the NDFP, or the National Democratic Front of the Philippines. Alongside this, even amid the pandemic, land grabbing and violence against farmers and indigenous people continue. The state violates JASIG, or the Joint Agreement on Safety and Immunity Guarantees, which is a part of the peace program signed by both the NDFP and the government, which states that peace consultants from both parties are to be protected. Last August 2020, peace consultant Randy Achanes was murdered in his own home in Quezon City. Next slide. So in summary, landlessness, state neglect, violation of human rights, land grabbing, and forced displacement, these are only a few of the factors that aggravate armed conflict in the Philippines. That's all.
All right, thank
And,
you.
For the second question, ma'am, sagutin na rin po namin yung nasa baba po. For
Sure.
both groups, we answered it in advance. So, why do we need to understand and analyze political theory? Well, simply because understanding political theory will give us a view on how politics has evolved, and it helps us comprehend the concepts that surrounds politics. However, this would not serve its purpose if it's merely like on paper or theoretical. We study politics and political theory to apply it to social practice, and it is to be used for the betterment of the people and improved with the same purpose in mind. That's all for Group 1. Thank you.
Thank you, group number 1. So for explanation and analysis, 5 points with a specific person. For clarity, 3 points. Timeliness, 2 points. Kasi 1 minute and 55 seconds. Sakto, no? Konti na lang ng ano. So you have your 1,000 XP. Group 2. For group 2, how do our beliefs differ from one another?
So we provided 4 answers to this question.
Oh yeah. Why do our beliefs differ from one another? This is because humans differ in their will, effort, vision, and desire for good. Humans are subject to experience different experiences that influence our values, behaviors, and beliefs. These differences prove that we are more than just our past we are more than just people who just follow that we are taught or raised to believe as we grow up. Cultural background and heritage also have a big influence of why differ from one another. Although in some instances, these people who come from different backgrounds can also believe the same.
Okay, for our third reason, we were all raised differently. Like previously, what JP said. Now we had different backgrounds, countries, or different families, or different times. We were raised in different times, and we have different brains. So most of these factors influence what you consider to be true about the world in various ways. And for our fourth reason, belief shapes how we see the world and we behave. Our beliefs, disagreement forms our beliefs, and it is what makes us human. And without beliefs, we will not know how we will behave in the world. Like there will be no heating plots, no wars, no economic crisis. So from our disagreement and for our differences, from our diversity, that is where we form our beliefs.
All right. For question. Additional. Okay, paano?
Meron
Sorry.
pa po.
All
Sorry
right,
po.
sige, go.
So now our group processed the question in 2 ways. The first, as discussed by Justine and JP, we interpreted it as bakit nagkakaiba-ibang paniniwala natin. And the second would be paano nagkakaiba-ibang paniniwala natin, which entails examples. And so the first would be the difference in Muslims and Catholics, where they mostly vary in their beliefs in God's and practice, to summarize it. The vegans believe that eating meat is cruelty, while non-vegans beg to differ. And besides the trivial topics mentioned before, differing beliefs could also be in situations as simple as the Coke versus Pepsi debate and the lights on versus lights off when resting and sleeping. These are all examples of how beliefs have case-to-case scenarios, and I'm sure any of the very passionate defenders of each side have their reasons as to why they stick up for their option that they chose. And that is what makes beliefs more interesting and free.
Why do we need to analyze political theory? Political theory helps us better understand what are the concepts that have shaped our politics, including freedom, equality, individuality, democracy, and justice. Importantly, political theory is the part of political science that explores what a better political world would look like and how we could create on it.
All right. Done? Okay, meron. Okay, sige. Thank you, group number 2. Akala ko end na. Buti nagpahabol kayo ng specific scenario. So for the explanation analysis, 5, clarity, 3, time, 1 minute 57 seconds. So, konti na lang, no? So, 1,000 XP. So, let me share my screen for short discussion. So, political theory, example natin is lasting peace in Mindanao. So, here are some factors. Some groups seek to overthrow the government, like revolutionary government. We'll tackle different political changes next week ata. And then, some groups are terrorizing the communities for the sake of belief. Sabi nga ni Pauline kanina. And then relative sa culture of private armies. So hindi lang siya NPA, hindi lang siya Muslim issues. May mga tao rin na with private armies and the rule of the law in the hands of the few, elite. And last is other conflicts, pwede rin community and fighting. So we need to understand political theory because we aims to answer these questions. What a better political rule would look like and how we can create it. What are the doctrines we should or we need to obey? And what are the nature of political authority? And what is the relationship of states, of the individual, and citizens' responsibilities? By understanding and analyzing political theory, yung mga tao, mas naiintindihan nila yung mga bagay-bagay. No? Hindi sila basta-basta nagja-judge, Muslim yan, NPA yan, etc. No? So in political theory, sa isang tanong maraming sagot. Hindi tayo nagkakaroon ng linear thinking. Okay? So, next situation for group number 3 versus group number 4 is public law. So, that is should mandate. Sige. Pwede na mag-share ng screen. Go group 3.
Okay. Mag-share screen na po ako ngayon.
Yeah. So for 3 and 4, sample issues, the should on February 14, 2019, President Duterte signed the law creating Department of Human Settlement and Urban Development, or the should. So the should is Central Housing Authority in the Philippines and absorb the duties and functions of housing and urban development. So hypothetical fund for the should is 100M. So for our running president, Ms. Cha, and for group number 4, they need to distribute the budget across the following needs. Okay, so kindly explain your budget.
Okay,
Running president Cha. Yes.
Okay. So magandang buhay po sa ating lahat. Ako po si Charis Joy Idea at ito po ang aming na-allocate na pagbabudget para sa housing dito sa Pilipinas. So may tatlo po tayong issues. Mag-allocate ng budget para sa homeless, para sa mga poorest of the poor, which is sila yung mga nasa geographically isolated and at a disadvantage, and sa informal settlers na pwede natin silang ilipat sa Bulacan, yung isa sa mga example. So, nag-allocate po ako ng 40%, which is 40 million, sa homeless po. Bakit? Kasi 4.5 million ang mga homeless sa Pilipinas. And other than that, 3 million ang nasa Manila, sa ating capital. So, yung mga tao doon, ang majority sa mga taong homeless sa ating capital ay nagsisik ng opportunities na makapagtrabaho since urbanized nga ang Manila, ang NCR. So they came from various provinces and from the different, some may have come from from Mindanao or from Visayas, and then nagpunta po sila sa Luzon para makakita ng opportunity or job para makatulong po sa kanilang pamilya. Majority rin po ng mga tao doon ay mga breadwinners. So kaya po kami nag-allocate ng 40. Ako po nag-allocate ng 40 million doon na pag-isipan po. And then 30% naman sa poorest of the poor kasi yes, they are geographically isolated and they are at a disadvantage. But according to the Department of Health, according to the Bureau of Local Health Development and sa Department of Health, mas maganda na sa poorest of the poor, sa mga nasa geographically isolated, na ang pagtuunan po natin ng pansin sa kanila ay ang healthcare and ang pag-allocate ng mga various resources, pag-mobilize ng mga resources and multi-sectoral partnerships, since hindi masosolve ng housing alone ang kanilang mga problema, hindi ma-alleviate ang kanilang issues sa buhay. And 30% din naman po sa informal settlers kasi hindi naman po porket inilipat na sa Bulacan yung mga informal settlers na makahahanap na po sila agad ng mga trabaho, and hindi porket inilipat na sila, mare-resolve na po natin yung issue sa mga typhoons kapag nababagyo yung lugar na yon, kung saan sila nakatira, ma-decrease yung mortality rate. Hindi, kasi hindi naman sila isang bagsakan na malilipat lang doon. Kailangan nagpo-progress tayo sa pag-improve sa kanilang quality state of living. So 30% para sa informal settlers at paglilipat sa Bulacan, since ang Bulacan din po noong 2019 ay reported na mayroong plan na magkaroon ng megacity na magbibigay oportunidad sa maraming mga mamamayan na magkaroon po ng job opportunities. And makatulong din po sa mga locals po nila.
So 40%.
Yun lang po.
All right, sige. Thank you. Group number 4. How about your pie graph?
Share ko po yung screen, ma'am.
Sure. And then, audience, kindly use our chat box. My question for you is, why is it important to understand the process by which the government translates their political vision into a program? Bakit kailangan naintindihan natin itong pagbabudget na to ng government? Sige. Go running President Angel.
So for the budget pie chart of our group, the group 4 is pinrioritize po namin yung pagpa-fund ng provision for housing to the homeless, which is stated nga po sa situation na binigay nyo po na President Duterte signed the HDUSD on February 19, 2019. And yun po, start na po siya ng COVID season and started din po siya ng sobrang daming disasters na nag-pass ng 2020. So, naisip po namin na mas taasan or mas bigyan pansin, mas bigyan ng prioritize yung housing para sa mga homeless since they need shelter. They need shelter na magpo-protect sa kanila from COVID-19 and also sa situation po natin ngayon, especially sa mga incoming disasters din po. Next is 32%, which is for the construction of decent housing to the poorest of the poor in the rural areas. Which is, what is poorest of the poor? So kapag sinerch po yung poorest of the poor, which is wala silang essential or wala silang access sa essential needs na dapat na binibigay ng government sa kanila. So, as the department of a government na dapat bigyan sila ng deserve nila na housing and deserve nila ng safe shelter. For the 26% naman po is the transfer of informal settlers in the disaster-prone areas, which is stated din po dito na examples from Tondo, informal settlers na i-relocate sila sa Bulacan. Which is, gawain na din po ng ibang department na bigyan sila ng livelihood and bigyan sila ng job. And ang gawain lang din po ng HSUSD is bigyan sila ng home and shelter. For the livelihood and job, gawain na po siya ng ibang department. So for the fund of provision, 42%, which is 42 million. For the decent housing is 32%, which is 32 million. For the informal settlers is 26%, which is 26 million. 100 million po for budget.
All right. So what are the things you consider sa pagbabudget?
Dito po, mas na-prioritize po yung pagbibigay ng houses kesa sa paglilipat, which is relocating.
Okay.
Mas binigyan pansin po.
Thank you.
Yes,
sige po. Let me share my screen. Thank you, audience. Of course, no, tayo yung direct na affected. So, ang nanalo, 3 versus 4, based sa Google Form vote ninyo, magkano ang budget na i-allocate according to 12 reverends sa voting is 40, 30, 30. So, nanalo ang group number 3, no? So, 40,
Maraming salamat
30,
po sa
30
tiwala.
ang kanilang boto. And additional information, one of the most powerful laws that the government enacts is the General Appropriation Act or GAA, which provides for the annual national budget. So inaalam natin magkano yung budget natin per sector. So for both groups, 1,000 XP. So again, public laws refers to the process by which government translates their political vision into programs and actions to carry out results favorable to its content sa kanilang mga taong bayan. Okay? So last na tayo, malapit na, hakapit lang. So group 5 and 6, public administration, so child abuse and chronic illness. Sige, 2 minutes each, group 5 and 6.
Wait lang, si Chanel po mag-present sa. Ay,
sure?
Pala. Okay. Good morning, everyone. We are Group 5 and we are here to present to you the poorly implemented section in the child abuse law in the Philippines. Next slide. Next slide. Before we show a short clip of how the RA 7610 is poorly implemented in our country, we would like to give a trigger warning to our classmates as this video depicts violence against children, specifically to lumad children. Okay. Article 9, Section 18 of RA 7610 states that the Department of Education, Culture, and Sports shall develop and institute an alternative system of education for children of indigenous cultural communities, which are culture specific and relevant to the needs of and the existing situation in their communities. Does this apply to our indigenous groups in the Philippines if even the state itself uses its military forces to attack the schools and communities? The video clip happened last February 15, 2021, wherein 26 individuals, including Lumad students, teachers, and elders, have been taken away by the police in the raid on the Backwit School at the Talamban campus of the University of San Carlos in Cebu. The PNP said it was a rescue operation, but the question is, in reality, who should they be rescued from?
So, a Lumad Bakit School is a makeshift mobile school for display Lumad students. It is an assertion of the Lumad children's right to education. The word Bakwit is a Bisaya word that means evacuate. So why is there a Bakwit school? It is created because of the continuous attack on Lumad school and communities. Under the Duterte regime, 176 Lumad schools were forcibly shut down by the Department of Education and the state forces affecting more than 5,000 Lumad students. Even during the pandemic, the attacks continue. Threats, red tagging, closures, military occupations, trump-up charges, and interrogations. With this in mind, the RA 7610 truly has its lapses as the Lumad Bakwit School is proof of how the state hinders the Lumad students of their right to education.
Present nyo na lang group 5 and then answer the guide question. Like, do we need a good public servant leader in implementing government programs? Ayan. Sige, go.
Guide question: do we need a good public servant or leader in implementing government programs? People will follow and support government services if there is a good public servant or leader. It has an impact on the country's success. A good and efficient public servant or leader is needed for a successful country. The government will be faced with so many issues. They'll need someone who can do it and effectively implement government programs. This pandemic, for example, had a significant impact on many people's lives. To respond to the current crisis, we need a good leader. The people find comfort in a successful public servant or leader. People believe that if there is a strong leader in place, government policies will be effective, citizens will be satisfied, and they will be able to assist the government with its goals.
Thank you, Mayor Jeremy. Sige, group number 6. Of course, we do have a good ordinance with good implementation here in Marikina City.
Hello po. Good
You have
morning
2 minutes.
po.
Good morning.
We are the Group 6 and we are here to present the good city ordinance of Marikina City. So we choose City Ordinance number 200, which prohibits all commercials or business establishments from selling cigarettes and other tobacco products and paraphernalia to minors. So ito po ay pinromote ni Mayor Maria Lourdes Fernando as the newly elected Anti-Smoking Council. And this campaign aims to educate minors about the harmful effects of cigarettes and prevent smoking-related diseases like cancer.
So why do we need to be aware of this project?
So, kailangan po maging aware tayo dito sa project na to because laws are meant to keep peace and order in society. Being familiar with the laws and policies also help us avoid breaking them because ignorance of the law excuses no one from compliance. We can enforce the law even if it's not our job to keep others from neglecting it. Government programs are generally made to be beneficial to the community.
All
To be
right.
a good and responsible citizen, we must respect the law and abide by them. So, pa-move forward na lang po tayo sa guide questions. So, reflection question. Based on our situation analysis, why is it important to study political science?
Oh, gents, kindly use our chat box then. Why do we need to understand political science?
So this is our answer. Through studying political science, we will be able to have a deeper understanding about what's going on around us and be better informed about the laws and policies that impact our country's condition. Given that we live in a democratic country and have political freedom, it allows us to analyze rationally the issues that may affect our daily lives.
All right, thank you, Mac. Again po public laws, paano nagtatranslate yung vision ng ang mga political leaders natin into programs and project. Public administration, implementation. Implementation. Okay, wag po kayong malilito doon. All right. And other sub-disciplines, public policy, problem solving, designing, implementing strategies, or evaluating outcomes. And then political behavior, how people participate in political processes. Example ay voting, no? Comparative politics, study of politics of different countries. International relations, of course, study of interaction between nation, international organizations. So, yan na yung mga treaties and etc. Okay, so I'm sure ready na kayo to defeat the boss. Sige, I hope pagtagumpayan yung matalo ang boss. Sige. All right. Reverence. Okay. Good luck. So random groups, teams. Okay, we'll start the battle. Inhale, exhale. Okay. Start. Group 5. Public laws refers to the implementation of government policy, while public administration refers to the process by which the government translates its political vision. You have your 10 counts. Unmute your mic, leader. 10, 9,
False
8.
po, ma'am. False po.
False. Final answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Wait. Okay. Yes, false. Okay. Okay, next. Group 1. Group 1. As a body of knowledge, political science is vast in its nature. It can be easily understood by analyzing different sub-discipline. Unmute your mic. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Group 1. Nasaan yung group 1? True or false?
Hello po.
Yes, Max.
True po.
True. Okay. The correct answer is true. Okay. Correct pa rin yung Reve. Next. Group 2. Studying political science is an excellent preparation for active citizenship. True or false? Group 2, 10, 9.
True po. True po.
Okay.
True.
Okay. Alright. So, don't need to answer yung last question kasi na-defeat nyo na yung boss. So, you have your 2,000 XP. Okay. Last part na tayo is kudos. So, kindly go to our kudos shrine. Choose one of your classmate, friends, group mates. So, here's my question. As a Marikina Science High School, how are you going to encourage your classmates to study political science? Share to him, her, its importance and relevance. We'll give you siguro 1 minute. Congrats. Alright. Sige, Lance. Lang po, approve lang natin para ma-publish. April 8. Alright, go Lance.
Good morning to the beautiful, smart, and sweetest Mount Rosa, 12 reverends, and all the teachers here in our call. You are currently listening to the generalization, application, valuing part of this discussion prepared by yours truly, Group 5. I am Lance Asiliera, and I will be talking about the relevance and importance of political science in our daily lives. Political science is the branch of social sciences that studies the state, politics, and government. The importance of political science lies in the fact that all of us live within political systems and we are affected by the changes in this political economy. Political science is a discipline that uses different approaches using different critical skills that will help you succeed in almost any career. As a Marikina Science High School student, I will encourage my classmates to study political science by showing and taking it to heart that applying the nature of political science in our daily lives will deepen our human knowledge of the forms and nature of political actions. Political science is also efficient in understanding that this branch of science is valuable to all citizens and that developing theoretical tools could help us in interpreting politically meaningful phenomena. That's all, and thank you.
Thank you, Lance. Of course, no, hindi lang naman sa government may politics. Meron din sa bahay natin, di ba? Paano tayo nagiging mabuting anak, no? Paano tayo sumusunod sa rules at regulation ng ating mga magulang, as well as sa school natin, no? Paano tayo nagpa-participate in online classes and do our responsibility as well, no? Thank you, Lance. And Reig, kindly evaluate. Yes, last na to.
Okay, so for our evaluation, first, we were able to discuss the nature of political science during our discussion activity in the Avatar classroom. That means that our cognitive objective was achieved. Ayan. And then we also successfully appreciated political science and its sub-disciplines during our situational analysis. So our affective objective was also achieved. And then lastly, the importance and relevance of political science was discussed through our Kadosh shrine. So our psychomotor objective, which is our final objective, was also achieved. Ayan. Thank you.
Yay! Clap, 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 clap. Thank you, 12 Reverends. Diba? This has been a challenging time, pandemic, pero you have your effort and support. Thank you! Kaway-kaway. Bye! So, ang additional assignment is complete our quest on sociology and political science. Okay? Sige. Happy lunch na ba? Sige, bye-bye. Thank you, 12 Reverends. Kaway-kaway.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you po, ma'am.
Ma'am. God bless you po.
Thank
you po, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday!